Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. I'm Betty Walker. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we are grateful you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. If you're joining us online, there are many links of connection in the description below the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and how to join our email newsletter list. If you're in the sanctuary, we encourage you to use the QR code for the digital order of service or to take one of the large print orders of service. Both are located on the table in the lobby. Hymnals are available right outside the sanctuary doors. We also have an inductive loop system for anyone wearing a hearing aid that is equipped with a T-coil. Your hearing aid should automatically connect if you enable the T-coil feature. For those who do not have a T-coil enabled hearing aid, we have receivers that can pick up the loop signal and you can listen through earphones. A few announcements. If you brought bread for bread communion, but it isn't sliced yet, please take it to the kitchen to be sliced before our bread communion later in the service. Have some sliced already? You will be invited to bring it forward later. After the service, mitten tree sign-ups are at the back of the sanctuary. After the worship service, an audiologist from Thunder Acoustics will be with us to demonstrate our hearing loop system and to test hearing aids to verify that they are compatible with the system. Our annual Transgender Day of Remembrance service is tonight at 5:30, right here, and the Interfaith Thanksgiving service will take place on Wednesday at 7 p.m. at First Presbyterian Church. Please consider joining us. If your spirit could use a lift and your soul is in need of good music, join us on Saturday, December 4th, as Melanie DeMore, singer, songwriter, performs on stage at UCE. Melanie has a gift of song and raising voices towards social justice with love and deep connection. Use the QR code on the poster in the lobby. Twice I've done that. Use the QR code on the poster in the lobby or visit our website where you will find the link to Eventbrite. And now, let us settle into our shared time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, please join us online. Those joining us online are invited to gather your chalice as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship. Wow. The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. In 1829, this land was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community, who had no choice but to sell their land to the U.S. government before being forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. The Chicagoland area is now home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the U.S. The acknowledgement of this land's history is one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary Indigenous communities. Please visit our website under Land Acknowledgement to learn more. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors and with respect for our descendants, with gratitude for the animals and plants sustained by this land, and with deep appreciation for the land we use as sacred space. As Chris Allender and Christine Peters light our chalice, in honor of Transgender Day of Remembrance and all who have died at the hands of bigotry, fear, and hate, please join in saying the words on the screen by Katie Gelfand. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, let's turn to one another briefly to say good morning. For those of you participating from home, please greet one another in the chat if you haven't done so already. Right. The hymn is number 349, We Gather Together.
Oh, I'm tall. Good morning. All right. Today's Time for All Ages is from a book called These Hands by Margaret H. Mason, and illustrated by Floyd Cooper. And there's a small little part you could say if you want a few times that goes, yes, I can. I'll cue you when it's time. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to tie a triple bowline knot in 3 seconds flat? Well, I can still help a young fellow learn to tie his shoes. Yes, I can. Good job. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to make the ivory sing like a sparrow in the springtime? Well, I can still show a young fellow how to play heart and soul. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to throw a curveball faster than a dive-bombing honeybee? Well, I can still show a young fellow to learn to hit a line drive. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to pluck the ace of spades right out of thin air? Well, I can still show a young fellow how to do a waterfall shuffle. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands were not allowed to mix the bread dough in the Wonder Bread factory? Did you know these hands were not allowed to touch the bread dough in the Wonder Bread factory? These hands were only allowed to sweep the floors and work the line and load the trucks because the bosses said white people would not want to eat bread touched by these hands. Well, these hands joined with other hands, and we wrote our petitions, and we carried our signs, and we raised our voices together. Now, any hands can mix the bread dough, no matter their color. Now, any hands can touch the bread dough, no matter their color. Yes, they can. Look at these hands, Grandpa. These hands used to not be able to tie a shoe, or play the piano, or shuffle the cards, or hit the ball. Now I can do all that, plus bake a fine loaf of bread, can't I? Well, yes, you can, Joseph. Look at these hands. Those hands could do anything at all in this whole wide world. Yes, you can.
Each Sunday we hold space for the joys and sorrows of those gathered here, honoring our struggles and our triumphs, the brokenness and wholeness that is woven into the human experience. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like spoken aloud, you may write it in the Joys and Sorrows book, or send me an email, or fill out the Google form found on the homepage of our website. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared for today. From Jay Liddell, kudos to Norel Liddell on starting a corporate job. And kudos to Jay Liddell for starting a new exciting work venture. Grateful and appreciative of the UCE community. Congratulations. And Ruth Orm Johnson and Amy Pooley are overjoyed to announce the birth of their son, Henry Maxwell Orm Johnson, on Thursday, November 17th at 11:45. Yay! Henry is healthy, beautiful, and so far loves sleeping, eating, and cuddling with mommy and mama. And congratulations to big sister Katie. I did get word this morning that Katie is not feeling well and that they're having to sort of take separate quarters right now. So I'm praying for everybody to feel better soon and for them to be reunited. From Greg Grabowski, a special thank you to Sandra Robinson for working hard to keep us warm and safe in our UCE home. We had some serious furnace issues this week, and it's all been resolved, thank goodness, and we're warm and toasty inside on this cold day. A deep sorrow that member Emma Jung Beeman died after a brief battle with cancer. She will be deeply missed by her family and friends. She was so dearly loved. And with sadness and anger, I pray for the victims of the LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs, where several people were killed and many wounded late last night. Spirit of love and peace, may you prevail and cast out all hate and violence. This sacred space for our tender offerings is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and we lessen the burden of our grief. Normally this is the time when I invite you forward to light candles, but our service and our chantel tables are going to be a little full today, so we're going to pass that part up, and there'll be lots of time to move around and come forward. But I do invite you to hold the joys and sorrows that we've heard this morning, and all those that are in our hearts that are too tender to say aloud. Let's hold those in our hearts, and let us breathe in together and breathe out. Let's breathe in together again. And breathe out. May we be gentle with ourselves and one another, remembering that each of us carries many burdens that are often untold. And let us say together, for these joys we give our thanks, for these sorrows we give our love. Will you pray with me? Spirit of life, source of love, we are grateful for this time of community and shared meaning making. We are grateful for the reminders that come often through the wind and the leaves, the birds and the flowers, the trees and the food we eat, that we are all part of a great circle, a great interweaving of all beings. We are grateful that none of us need move through this life alone or isolated, even though at times it may feel as though we are. We ask for courage, bringer of life, to live fully into what our interdependence calls from us. May we grow in compassion. Compassion, our ability to breathe with and suffer with. Compassion for ourselves and for all others. May our compassion build our strength to withstand the forces of evil that would divide us. Greed, fear, and its offspring, hatred. May we dissolve these with the ever-abiding, all-transforming power of love. Amen. and blessed be. As we sing Spirit of Life, our pre-K kids are invited to go to room 9 with their leaders if they'd like to, and as always, are equally welcome to stay with us.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with UUANI, whose mission is providing Unitarian Universalists across Illinois with advocacy and legislative leadership to effectively build community and power to promote justice and a healthy planet. UUANI brings social justice into the heart of spiritual life of congregations and develops ways for church communities to live the UU principles. If you're joining us from home or in the building, you may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering, pledge, capital campaign, or some other giving. If you're in the sanctuary, the ushers will pass the collection bowls down the aisles. Ushers, please come forward. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Beautiful. "20 years ago, two things happened in my life that changed the way I view the world. First, I joined this church, and a few months later, I got a new job at the 10,000 Villages store on Main Street in Evanston. I'm a retired teacher, and I thought that selling stuff would be far different from what had been my calling. Didn't take me long, however, to realize that what I was doing was, in fact, education. I was learning about the lives and dreams and cultures of the farmers and artisans that made the products we sold, and telling their stories to the customers. They went away, I hoped, with a new awareness of the impact their shopping choices could make in the world, and I was becoming passionate about fair trade. I was even able to go to Africa and South America to see for myself. I kept that job for 14 years, and though I left 10,000 Villages 5 years ago, I'm still very committed to fair trade, working with our small but mighty enterprise at the back of the sanctuary. Let me tell you the story in two parts, with this video describing how farmers benefit from fair trade.
A supermarket. Here we buy almost everything we need in our day-to-day lives. Our decisions on what to buy are based on taste, quality, and price. But what you might not know is that the decisions we make can have a significant impact. Fair trade products vastly improve the working and living conditions of families in developing countries. But how does fair trade even work? Let's take this pack of coffee as an example. Fair trade coffee farmers don't work alone. They are members of cooperatives and organized democratically. There are many advantages to this system. A central component of the fair trade system is the minimum price, which is the minimum that farmers' organizations are paid when selling their products through fair trade. Additionally, producer organizations receive the fair trade premium. It is up to the farmers and workers to decide how to use the premium. They might build wells and hospitals, buy better farming equipment, or invest in switching to organic farming. Having a stable income can drastically improve a whole family's opportunities. Coffee is the most well-known fair trade product. However, there is a huge range of fair trade products available, from bananas, ice cream, rice, cocoa, sugar, herbs, honey, dried fruits and nuts, to fruit juices, tea and wine. Even flowers, cotton, and sports balls can be fair trade certified. So now, it's over to you. In your daily shopping, look for the fair trade mark and choose products that change lives for over 1.5 million farmers and workers worldwide. Fair trade. The power is in your hands.
At our cart, we practice a sort of double whammy fair trade. As described in the video, the products we sell help the farmers who produce them to live with dignity. But also, every bit of our profits help families right here in Evanston. For several years, beginning about 12 years ago, our proceeds bought gift cards for clothing and groceries for struggling families at Chute Middle School. Later, we supported a healthy eating project at Chute, which included an organic vegetable garden and classes in nutrition and cooking. After that, we contributed funds for after-school and summer activities at Family Focus, including tutoring and scholarships for summer day camp. We also gave a large donation to Connections for the Homeless, and last year we were able to pay a month's rent for an Afghan refugee family that is being assisted by members of UCE. What does it take to do all this? Let me use my own purchases as an example. I buy a variety of things from the cart, and there's no telling what might catch my eye from week to week, but there are certain staples that I can't really do without. About every 2 weeks, I usually need a bag of coffee, a couple of chocolate bars, and a package of soup mix. The markup on coffee is $3. Chocolate is $1.40 or $2.80 for 2 bars, and soup is $1.45. That's a total of $7.25 profit. If I buy only that much 20 times a year, the total profit comes to $145. That doesn't sound like a lot, but supposing 20 people bought that same amount 20 times in a year, the total profit would be $2,900. That could pay for many hours of tutoring or warm clothes or shoes for refugee children. Imagine the possibilities. Even if those 20 people only bought a bag of coffee every couple of weeks, the profit would be $1,200. Chances are you also buy coffee and chocolate, maybe at the supermarket. But you could stop by our cart and get organic coffee at a lower price than you would pay for the same brand anywhere else in the area, and at the same time be making a real difference for someone, maybe several people, our neighbors who are in need. Our little fair trade business is all about changing lives, and you can be an important part of that change.
Like, go ahead. Sorry, I'm supposed to introduce this. Our anthem, The Promise of Living, was chosen by Rob Geiger at last year's Serendipity auction. Rob chose this piece for the choir to sing because he's always loved it since he first sang it with John Giles, our choir director, back in the 1990s. The lyrics speak a fundamental truth about how to live in this world and express an optimism inherent in American culture. They also speak of one of the fundamental UU messages, that relationships matter. Beautiful. Good choice, Rob. Robin Wall Kimmerer, author, mother, scientist, and enrolled member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, writes in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, of the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address. It is a beautiful litany of gratitude for the abundant gifts of Mother Earth and all beings of interdependent relationship living upon her. She includes the full address in her chapter reflecting throughout on its deep meaning. She says, first and foremost, it is the credo for a culture of gratitude. And cultures of gratitude must also be cultures of reciprocity. Each person, human or no, is bound to every other in reciprocal relationship. As an indigenous person of another tribe, Kimmerer asks Onondaga faith keeper Orrin Lyons about the appropriateness of sharing this address with the world. He tells her it's supposed to be shared, otherwise how can it work? Generosity and reciprocity are essential ingredients in the practice of gratitude. The history of Thanksgiving in the United States is complicated by the history of our religious forebears, the Puritans, who came to this land seeking freedom from persecution, only to engage in their own practice of persecution and tyranny against the Wampanoag and other Native peoples. Those of us from dominant U.S. culture might like Thanksgiving because it seems less fraught. It's simply about being grateful, right? I would argue, however, that though there is a simple beauty in the practice of gratitude, being thankful requires responsibility to all life and to collective care. That is the making the world whole that is a part of our mission statement. It is incumbent upon us to include the call of reciprocity and repair into the story we tell in the practice of Thanksgiving, in holding gratitude for the abundance of the earth and all beings which empower life, along with the responsibility of reciprocity. We truly offer our thanks. Gratitude is a profound and central spiritual practice present in all faiths and a value we aspire to live more fully. This tradition of bringing and sharing bread together, with its connection to the historical Judeo-Christian roots of Unitarian Universalist, reminds us, the tradition of our Judeo-Christian forebears, reminds us of the power of community. It helps us to remember that abundance must be shared for goodness to be sustained and for all life to flourish. And so we sing our thanks and praise.
Gratitude for this feast before us. The harvest is abundant. Gratitude for all gathered here. Our diversity makes us stronger. Gratitude for work and its rewards, and the chance to be of service. Gratitude for the earth and all therein, and the web of life that sustains us. Deep gratitude for loved ones near and far, and for those who came before us. The promise of living with hope and thanksgiving is born of our sharing, our love and our caring.
Thank you, Rob. We will now begin our bread communion. You may have brought a loaf of bread from your heritage, and I invite you to bring it up if you want to come forward, and you may want to share in one of the microphones briefly just what your bread is, or you may just simply want to set it down in one of the baskets. Please come forward now.
it's really a cake, but because it's bread, I'm counting it. And it's vegan.
Wow. All right, thanks.
And there's gluten-free bread over here too, if anybody.
I've got some Appalachian cornbread up here. It's real tart and real gritty, and it's made with dripping, so it's not vegetarian. Y'all come.
Oh, someone. I'm bringing cornbread because my family is from the South, and that's all the heritage we have.
I'm bringing my honey whole wheat bread that my mother-in-law and my grandfather taught me to bake, and when I make it, I feel their hands on mine.
Rex and I made some pehme mustleib, which is a soft black bread from Estonia with raisins and walnuts.
Okay, don't get too comfortable because you're going to come back up now. We marvel at this abundance and the beauty of these gifts. And I want to share this litany of a harvest of gratitude, adapted slightly from the words of Percival Chubb. Once more the fields have ripened to harvest, and the fruitful earth has fulfilled the promise of spring. The work of those who labor has been rewarded. They have sown and reaped, planted and gathered. How rich and beautiful is the bounty gathered. The golden grain and clustered corn, the grapes of purple and green, the crimson apples and yellow pears, and all the colors of orchard and garden, vineyard and field. Season follows after season, after winter, the spring, after summer, the harvest-laden autumn, from bud to blossom, from flower to fruit, from seed to bud again, the beauty of earth unfolds. From the harvest of the soil, we are given occasion to garner a harvest of the heart and mind, a harvest of resolve to be careful stewards of all life's gifts and opportunities, a harvest of reverence for the wondrous power and life at work in things that grow and in the soil, a harvest of gratitude for every good which we enjoy, and of kinship for all who are sustained by earth's beauty. You'll now be invited to come forward again in 3 lines and take a piece of bread, whichever bread you like. We have gluten-free bread on this table over here, or we also have a basket of other alternative snacks if none of those float your boat. After you've selected your bread, you may return to your seats, but I ask you to please not eat yet until all who wish to partake have some at their seats. Those of you at home, please hold your bread or food, and as we wait until all of us are holding some delightful bit of nourishment or a particular gift of sustenance from the earth, I invite you to take in its color as you're waiting, its texture, its smell, savor it with your other senses before tasting it. And if you would like someone else to bring you something, please raise your hand and we'll bring you what you wish. Please come forward now to gather your bread. Get something? Before we partake, let us share in this Thanksgiving blessing. Oh, please don't let my blessing scare you off. Get your food. Spirit of life and love. This is adapted from Naomi King. Spirit of life and love, let us join hands and hearts in gratitude on this wondrous day where we have the abundance of our lives before us. This day of bounty, we remember all of those who do not have enough, who are afraid, who are lonely, and who suffer. We wish for the abundance of this world to be shared, for fear to become love, for the lonely to feel welcomed, and for the suffering to know rest and joy. And if we can get those words on the screen, Adam, you share in this. For the labors, the love, the care that gave us the delights of this and every day, we offer our gratitude. For the nourishment of our spirit, the challenges that strengthen us, and the friends we have on the journey, we offer our gratitude. For all that is our lives, for these good gifts, we offer our gratitude. May gratitude for our abundance move us to act with compassion for those in need. Amen. Let us share in our abundance together. As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Before our benediction, just a reminder that our audiologist is here to teach us about the hearing loop system. And let's continue this abundance, and if anybody wants to help bring the baskets back to the tables in the back, and we'll share them for our kinship time. May the gratitude for life's abundance and beauty remind us of our responsibility to reciprocate. May we each know generosity given and received, and may it call forth in us our every effort to joyfully share in the collective project of making it so for all the earth. Amen.